Hey guys, Steve Trowbridge here. So, in the midst of all this Stetson drama that is ongoing, it seems like it just is completely endless. I got a few comments from a user by the name of the Flaming Philosopher, who I guess decided to put in his take on this whole situation, and proceeded to upload a video under the title, with the title LGBTP. Why he decided to make it that title, I'm not completely sure why, because he makes it clear in his video that he doesn't support pedophilia, and he knows that kids obviously can't consent, so my only guess is it was meant to be an attention-grabbing title. But I wanted to make a sort of response to this video, this 11-minute video, because I'm still trying to figure out what the overlapping theme of the video is, or what the overlapping point of the video is, because I can't for the life of me figure out what the overall point was. You make several sub-points in your video. You make several mini points, I guess you'd call them in the video, bullet points, but I still can't figure out what the overall, like, purpose or point or theme of the video was. I don't know if it was to voice your aversion to the way that we are carrying ourselves against Stetson Hardwick, or if it was to unbox the topic of pedophilia more, or whatever else. So I'm want to address a few of the things that you brought up in your video. Now, in a few of your comments, you made yourself out to seem like you're kind of taking a middle ground position when it comes to pedophilia and pedophiles and stuff. But like I said, you make it clear in your video that you don't support pedophilia and that you know that kids obviously don't have the tools to consent. I mean, of course. So I won't even really get into that that much. Now, it seems to me that you're taking the position that pedophiles, or at least some pedophiles who, I would assume pedophiles who know that their desires are wrong and can cause only harm and pain and torment to the people that they enacted on, the children that they would enact it on, would want to seek treatment. So, I take it that you take the position that pedophiles should seek treatment, and that's probably the only thing that I would agree with. I would encourage people who know that they have the attraction, who know that they are a pedophile, to seek treatment and seek help for it, so to, as to, maybe seek, a more healthier, sexual relationship with adult in the future, and if not cure themselves of the attraction, then at least be able to cope with it and develop healthy coping mechanisms so that way they don't enact their desire on a child. So yes, I would encourage pedophiles who recognize that what they are feeling is wrong to get help. Like, that group of pedophiles would be okay in my book, okay? But people who, encourage it and say that it's a-okay for adults to have sex with children, and then obviously, of course, pedophiles who do act on their desires, and child molesters and whatever else, they are obviously not a-okay in my book, and they can burn in hell for all I care. Now, Flaming Philosopher, Philosopher, I'll just call you that because I don't know what your actual name is, but, you seem to take the position that everyone has human worth, or everyone has worth, every human being has worth, every human being has value, and all I can chalk that up to is you and me viewing the world in very different ways and viewing people in very different ways, okay? I think that a good majority of people have worth. I think that human beings are certainly flawed. I don't think any of us are perfect by any means, but I think most of us have value. I don't think that pedophiles, who have acted on their desires, I don't think child molesters, rapists, serial killers, I don't think those people have human worth, because what have they brought to the table? What have they brought to this life? Pain, suffering, torment, and everything else imaginable. So, yeah, I don't think those people really have much worth. Okay, and I wouldn't be that bothered by us just putting them and throwing them in prison for the rest of their life. Or in states where the death penalty is legal, I wouldn't care then either. Now, maybe you have a differing opinion on that. Maybe you would agree with me on that those types of people don't have any worth or value because of what I just stated, so maybe you would agree with me on that. I don't know. As far as your comment where you told Stetson that he has human value, and to your point about me bullying Stetson Hardwick, and the rest of us bullying Stetson Hardwick. Dude, you're making it clear that you aren't very well informed on this situation between Stetson and the rest of us. Okay, I assure you that Stetson has no human value. No matter what you want to believe, no matter what you want to say, Stetson has no human worth or value. He does nothing for anyone. Let me just run through the list of things that he's done. Okay, he coldly dismissed, first of all, he claims that things like rape, consent, sexual abuse, age don't exist, among other things. And he actually believes these things. At first, a lot of us kind of thought, well, maybe he's probably just a troll. But this guy has written books and has been at this forever. If he is a troll, he is an extremely dedicated troll. So I genuinely believe that he believes the things that he is actually saying. So he believes that those things don't exist. And if his belief system wasn't bad enough, he has gone out of his way to coldly dismiss the sexual trauma that two of my friends went through, claim that they never happened, and before that even congratulated my friend Jennifer on her sexual trauma. Yeah, he congratulated her for getting raped and sexually abused. And then afterwards claimed that it didn't happen because rape doesn't exist and sexual abuse doesn't exist. Same thing with Gage. He took a traumatic event that happened in Gage's life and weaponized it against him and called him a murderer. I won't go into what exactly happened, but yes, he did that. He also went out of his way to contact Jennifer's mother, who was in the hospital, sick at the time, and Stetson went on to call Jennifer's mother a horrible person for raising such a conservative, bigoted person. Went out of his way to harass family members of Jennifer's because of online drama. Went out of his way to say that it was karma that Gage's grandmother died prematurely because Gage said a few mean words to him. Said that it was karma, said that's what he gets, said that's what's coming to him. Right after Gage's grandmother died, Stetson said that to him. And there's probably, on top of him calling all of us, literally comparing us to terrorists or cyber terrorists and stuff like that, because we've given him harsh critique, and maybe have called him a few names and whatever else. Which, to your point about bullying, I just, I'm trying to be as polite as I can here, but it's ridiculous. Okay, you come off as a huge tone policeman. Okay, you're coming into the comments and basically saying, who do you think you are? I don't approve of the tone of voice that you're using or how you're conducting yourself. It's unacceptable. Dude, again, I chalk that up to you. You obviously have your way of dealing with things. I have my way of dealing with things, as do the rest of us. And that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly acceptable. You're allowed to have your own beliefs and opinions, as am I. But it's a little bit ridiculous. Like, I don't particularly care if you like how I'm conducting myself or not. So as far as your claim of bullying, dude, it's the internet. Like, people get called names on the internet all day long. People get yelled at on the internet all day long. It's the fucking internet. There's no bullying going on. All I can say to that is grow a thicker skin. It's the internet. But with all the things that I just listed that Stetson has done, would you still consider me the bully? Or Zach, my boyfriend, the bully? Or Gage, the bully? Or Damien, the bully? Stetson, a person who, again, dismissed the sexual trauma that two of my friends went through, dismissed a traumatic event that my friend went through and then weaponized it against him. Literally triggered PTSD and my friend's gender dysphoria because he kept saying that she was a fake trans person because she doesn't have the beliefs and opinions that he thinks a trans person should have. Weaponized her trauma against her and caused her to go into PTSD because of it. Has made countless videos, saying that Gage and I have led people to suicide because of our ideology, because he goes out of his way to call us conservatives, even though none of us identify as conservatives. The only person who would be technically a conservative is Cass Warfox. The rest of us either identify as centrists or libertarians, or liberals in Jennifer's case. So, given all that, your claims that I'm a bully and that I'm bullying Stetson Hardwick on the internet is a little bit ridiculous. You know, I have no desire to have the belief that Stetson has any value or worth as a human being. He barely qualifies as a human being, and I don't think he has any worth or value whatsoever because of the things that I have just talked about. Because he wants to dismiss people's trauma, their pain, their torment, wants to go out of his way to actually harass and stalk someone's family because of internet drama, wants to make all sorts of slanderous claims about people with no consideration for the repercussions. So, I think that your claims of bullying are very, very unfounded, and again, it just makes you look very uninformed on this particular situation. You know, and then to address another one of your points, you talk about how kids can be sexual. Now, you don't make a distinction when you first bring up children, you just say children, but then you talk about middle schoolers, which I would assume is in the age range of like 11, 12 to 14, because when I went to middle school, I went to middle school 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Started middle school when I was 11, left at 14, and in that period, you know, kids tend to be going through puberty and stuff like that. Their voices get deeper, they start growing hair in certain parts of their bodies, and they're starting to develop strong sexual feelings and starting to notice the other gender. So, to that point, I mean, yes, kids at that age certainly are sexual. That doesn't mean that they have all the equipment to consent with a fucking grown adult. But yes, kids are sexual at that age. Now, prepubescent kids can be curious about, you know, how babies are made and stuff like that, and how, you know, all that works. But, you know, curiosity is different from sexual interest. But yes, at 12, 13, 14, yes, kids are sexual beings, but that doesn't mean that they should be going out having sex with adults, which I know that's not what you were claiming, but still. And then you said that you read cases about where kids that age would go out and rape younger kids or other kids and stuff, which, I mean, I can believe that happens. I think there are some kids out there who have not had proper guidance or parental guidance, or have just been through maybe abuse themselves, or maybe they were just born psychopathic or sociopathic, because that can happen too sometimes. But, you know, to that point, I mean, all I have to say is, well, you know, of course, they're kids, and when you say kids, I'm assuming you mean more like teenagers. Yes, teenagers are sexual in nature. So to that point, I don't really have much to say other than, well, yeah, I mean, and obviously, you know, kids that age raping younger kids or kids their same age is horrible. But, you know, two 14-year-olds getting it on isn't, I mean, I don't care about that, because, I mean, one, I'm not thinking about that, and two, it's two teenagers the same age, I mean, so I don't really care about that. But the last point of your video, where you basically try to insinuate that, you make a comparison between people who are very anti-gay, who turn out to be gay themselves, which, yes, does happen a lot. But then you try to equate that, and then you don't say it outright. Like, you don't say it, I don't think you're making an accusation per se, but you insinuate that because we're all meeting this topic with vitriol and disgust and hate and spite, the topic of pedophilia, that is, then that means that maybe we're harboring those feelings ourselves, which, I will just say, I do not appreciate the insinuation whatsoever. I don't appreciate it whatsoever. I think that's absolute bullshit. Okay? Most rational, sane people will meet the topic of pedophilia, and child molesters, for that matter, with vitriol, with disgust, with hate. A lot of people are parents, so of course they would meet it with anger and hate and spite. I don't know what your fucking point is or what your purpose was in making that insinuation, but it's unfounded and it's a load of horseshit, and I don't appreciate it, and neither does anyone else. So that's really all I wanted to address. Again, I don't know what your overall theme was or overall point was. I can't really find one or what the point even was. But nonetheless, I mean, I do appreciate your attempt at constructive criticism. I mean, I'm maybe that's what this whole thing was supposed to be about. I didn't really glean anything from it, but whatever. I would just encourage you to maybe learn a little bit more about this whole situation, this drama and stuff before you make judgments and before you make, everything else. That's I'll just leave it there. But anyways, that's about it for this one. And yeah, I'll probably be uploading more pretty soon. So anyways, that's it. Peace out, and you all have a good day.